It is Wednesday, November 8th. This show, which runs live Tuesday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, on Instagram and YouTube. YouTube.com/No Meat Athlete is the best place to watch it. We're presented by Compliment, lovecompliment.com. And we had a big promotion going last week, the Plantapalooza Longevity Summit. Now we're in a little quiet time before Black Friday begins, which we all know is the real holiday that November has to offer is Black Friday. So maybe Doug can fill us in on when that all begins. I don't know if we're doing pre-Black Friday or what. Anyway, I'm past Thanksgiving. I'm in the Christmas mood. I still didn't get any sleigh bell sounds, but let's see if I can pull that up. Doug's being added. There he is. He's added to the show on Instagram. Hello, Doug.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
Going very well. There's some bells. I
got those sleigh bells ringing and jingling too.
I have two errors to correct. Well, actually, one's an error, one's just a total omission. That movie, A Biltmore Christmas that we talked about.
Yeah,
you remember that? It's one of the Hallmark movies, which I'm always typically a big fan of. A little bit soured on them recently, the past few years. I don't think they're very good. They're kind of just cranking them out. Too many. I think when COVID happened and they did that, like they put out a whole bunch of holiday movies during the summertime as like a joke or something.
I don't remember that. To lift people's spirits, they did a bunch of Hallmark movies.
I don't know. It was COVID when everyone was doing wacky stuff and like putting out like free, like join Peloton for free forever for the year or something.
Yeah.
And all these companies were just doing stuff. So Hallmark said, we're going to do a whole weekend of Christmas movies. And I don't know if they made new ones or what, but to me, that's when they jumped the shark. That's when since then, it's just been downhill. They're just not good since then.
Well, it was all the ones that they deemed unplayable for Christmases past.
Right.
And they're like, we'll just throw them here in COVID.
Exactly. And they probably saw that people still watch them. So therefore, no more effort or budget will go into future movies. Like they made that one that was shot from two perspectives and then released it as two movies. You remember that thing that happened last year?
No, I don't remember any of this. I don't really follow them nearly as closely as you. What happened?
Last year, I'm sorry, maybe it was 2001. They had a movie. I'm trying to find the name of it as I'm talking. And it was probably someone can do it. It had that girl from the Gilmore Girls, maybe. I could be totally wrong on that. But anyway, it was about her and her sister and this, small town Christmas thing and all this, and saving a theater that was in the family. And then they had another one that was the same basic movie, but it was from the other sister's perspective. And I just have a feeling somehow that it was like originally one really long movie and they just cut it into two and said, we'll just kind of release this. So it was like the same movie, but just a different perspective. It was very weird. And
how funny.
It wasn't very good. I'll have to look it up or someone can remind me. Anyway, what I said last show or a couple shows ago was that I was disappointed when I saw the slate of holiday Hallmark movies this year that there was no time travel movies. But the Biltmore Christmas is time travel. So I'm actually quite excited for that one.
Better.
Yeah. Somebody goes back in time for it.
Falls in love with
Biltmore, of course, in Asheville.
Is it about the Biltmore family, or is it just happens to be set in like a
I don't
mansion?
know. The Biltmore family is the Vanderbilt family, right?
Yeah.
They kind of already had a movie that was that. Where like the Baron guy from 1890 or whatever, he accidentally goes into the future and he falls in love with who's the tour guide of the mansion later on. So I don't know if they can do that again. Actually, they probably can. But who knows what that'll be. So that's that.
What would be great? It would be a supercut of all of the times we've talked about Hallmark Christmas movies over the last 10 years of podcasting.
That would be good. And we've done it a lot. I was big into it early, before it was cool. I would say I was into these things. It started with Holiday in Handcuffs for me, which was the one I watched every year.
To fame?
Yeah, and that's from ABC Family, which has since become freeform, and I think that's really still the place to go to watch the best holiday movies, as far as new ones being made. All right, no one is here on YouTube, so I have a feeling that there's an error because usually there's a whole lot of
it's if you go to YouTube, you can see there's a lot of people here.
The actual YouTube, not recent. Okay.
Yep. So something is wrong with our our streaming system. But Kelly, good morning. Carmen, Sarah, Dale, Harold Dole, hello, my plant-based friend. Jeff Hudnall, Dale Stevens, Annie, Kate Rivercat, Matt O'Connor, Scott, Mr. Jeffrey. Everybody's here. Lots of sunshines and smiley faces and plant emojis. So
Wow.
everybody seems to be in a good mood today. It's great. It is Thursday. No, it's Wednesday. Hump day.
Yes.
Feels like Thursday because we have Friday off for Veterans Day. So
that's right. Company-wide holiday. I'm proud that that's
holiday?
our company holiday. Proud and excited to have a day off, but also proud that we can give the employees off to celebrate Veterans Day.
That's right. I'm going to go to a Veterans Day parade. My band is playing at the VFW on Saturday. Veterans celebration.
It'll be like Mouse Rat in Parks and Rec when they play at the senior center home and they play all those oldie songs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Are you gonna play all a bunch of old swing band?
No,
hits?
we're gonna play our. We don't know any covers, and we've refused to learn
in your style. Play some things that you put your spin on. Old 40s tunes.
That'd be pretty funny. No, we're playing our normal set, and yeah, should be having a good time. We're the last of 3 bands. We're kind of the late crowd, assuming that most people will have had their alcohol consumed and
gone home probably.
And gone home. Yeah, it's just the young folks. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, good. That's a good time. I'm glad to hear you doing that, and it's fun for the holiday. It's good. It's a nice thing to do. Is it free, unpaid show?
Tips only. Yeah, unpaid show. Free. Okay. Free show. Yep.
Good. You guys reduced your normal large fee.
That's right.
For the veterans. Good.
Giving back, considering it a tax write-off, So.
Right. Okay.
Let's see. Aaron D says, "Hi, first time ever actually tuning in live versus catching the podcast. I love it when that happens.
Yeah, me too.
Welcome. And then Garuda Legends. I always pronounce that wrong. Fun fact: I'm learning to cook vegan food from down to earth vegans like y'all.
Hey, look at that. Sweet. Good for down to earth vegans. Yeah, that's. I love that. I hit and they said I hit the like bottom. I thought it was. I read it as I hit rock bottom. Like that was a bad. No, that's good. I think I've said this before in response to Garuda Legends comments, but I like to be that kind of vegan who appeals to non-vegans because I don't want to contribute to that polarization.
We're going to talk about that a little bit today. Kind of.
We are a little bit. That's right. Mm-hmm. All right.
Speaking of, while we're talking about like buttons, be sure to hit the like button. If all 20 people that are watching live right now, 21 people that are watching live can hit that like button, and that would be great.
You're right. We don't ask for that stuff enough. And do the same on Instagram if you're there too. I'm pinning the link to YouTube there, by the way, on Instagram. Hop over there if you'd like.
Yeah.
All right. So no one has answered the question I had about the sister movie, but I looked it up. I was wrong. It's not the Gilmore Girls. It's the woman who was in Father of the Bride. She was the bride back in the 90s or whenever that was. Anyway, the movie was called Sister Swap, A Hometown Holiday, and Sister Swap Christmas in the City. They were both released the same year, same cast, including real life sisters. So the woman from Father of the Bride, she also had her sister in the movie. But they didn't tell anyone they were the same movie. It was really weird. So then they just got trolled a lot for putting out the same movie from different viewpoints and acting like it was 2 different movies. So I don't understand. It's very weird, but I don't understand what the real story is behind it. I guess it was. Yeah, they did it on purpose. It wasn't just a repurposing of something. The other movie thing that we missed, I heard the other day or saw a preview on TV. Remember, you and I were talking, and you were saying you wanted to watch the Hunger Games movies again.
Yes.
And I said, I had read some of them or all of them, but then started to read the prequel and couldn't really get very far with it. And you said, "Oh, I didn't know it was a prequel." Well, the prequel movie is coming out in a week from now or something like that. Yeah. Let me look it up. Tell the nice people what it is so that they're aware. The Battle of Songbirds and Snakes. And it comes out premiered November 5th in Berlin. Comes out in the United States on November 17th. So that's only 9 days away. you can go see that prequel. So you should watch that prequel and then launch yourself into the whole rest of the movie.
I should totally do that. I'm going to do that. That sounds like a great idea. Are all the characters back, or is it like different people?
I think it's so much earlier. Like President Snow is a kid when
okay.
the prequel set. So I think it's all different actors. I don't believe Jennifer Lawrence is part of it at all. But I'm really not that sure about it at all.
We watched what's that new movie she's in, or not newish, or newish movie. She basically has to date like this 18-year-old kid or something. No Hard Feelings. Terrible movie. Really bad movie. I just kept thinking like, I mean, I guess this is kind of a diss on her, and I hate to say that, but like, she's an A-list actress, and this is like a terrible comedy. I don't know. Just kind of seemed like a beneath her. The movie did, but just my opinion. Maybe she had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, right. It could be. She may be tired of doing these serious things like Hunger Games and wants to just have some fun. All right. So weird day today as far as news went. Yesterday we made a joke about 23 hours from now we'll do it again and we'll cover whatever news has come up since then. There's really not very much. So therefore we have no way. I mean, it seemed like a short amount of time. I was like, how are we going to get new news in 23 hours? But somehow we do that twice a week at least, because the one day that we always have the 5-day break or 4-day break. But yeah, this time it happened. There was no weather report news at all. So we don't have any weather report, but you've got some shout outs. So let's get through those.
I do.
By the way, before you do that, did you see that the world record for oldest marathon runner happened? It just got like certified. Oh. It happened a year ago. It was a 92-year-old woman ran
92 years old.
92.
Oh my gosh.
There's footage of her on Instagram, I think from Runner's World, that showed her crossing the finish line and celebrating, and she just looked amazing. I couldn't believe it.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
It is awesome.
What was her time? Do you know? Like,
no, the camera showed that. I don't think this was on purpose. It showed the seconds and it sort of panned and it hit the minutes, and you can see it was 22 minutes, some amount of seconds, and it just never showed the hour number. So I just don't know. Who knows?
That's funny.
But the clock was still running, so I guess the marathon was within the allotted time. I'll look it up.
That's awesome. Yeah, so I spent some time in the Discord yesterday, which shout out to everyone who is still contributing regularly to the Discord. It's still booming with the number of people. nomeatathlete.com/Discord to join the Plant-Based Morning Show Discord. But 3 people had some big races over the weekend, so I want to shout out them. Plant Powered Runner, I'm not sure who he is, what his real name is, but he ran the Charlotte Marathon in your stomping ground.
I didn't know we had a Charlotte Marathon recently.
In a time of I've run the Charlotte Marathon, actually. Oh, yeah? It was called the Thunder Road Marathon at the time, so maybe it's different. But a marathon in Charlotte.
Okay. Runs around Uptown?
Yeah.
Purples it, probably. Okay.
He ran it in 3:09:20, which is a personal best by more than 25 minutes, 5th in my age group, and he got the elusive Boston qualifier.
I was going to say, it sounds like a BQ time for me. So that's awesome. Way to go.
Yeah, really cool. Bianca Phillips, fastest 25K ever on Saturday at the Mamba 100 in Memphis.
Okay.
I assume she wasn't running the 100. She was running a 25K that was part of that.
Right.
And then Jessica and who I don't know if that's the Jessica that's here all the time or not, but
Jessica Good Enough? Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think she's just Jessica Good Enough.
Okay. First marathon complete, born and raised New Yorker, so it only seemed fitting to run the New York City Marathon. Thanks to Matt and Doug for all the No Meat Athlete and Plant-Based Morning Show podcasts to get me through the process. 13 years vegan and feeling stronger than ever.
Wow. All right. Good. Fantastic. That's right. I've thought about New York, and I thought it was funny that we hadn't mentioned it when it happened. So a couple things here. First of all, Jeff Hudnall chimed in. That's him, the Plant Powered Runner. I almost said that.
Oh.
But I didn't want to misspeak, so I didn't. He's the one who I met in Charlotte at a 10K here. He says he used the No Meat Athlete BQ plan. I don't even know what the No Meat Athlete BQ plan is. Do you, Doug? There's Run Your BQ.
That's
we sort of repackaged that, right? And we hallmarked that and put it into a new thing. That's right. Good. That's awesome. That's
awesome. Well, that's even better than it works.
It's a testimonial story. Yeah, we should follow up.
Totally.
All right. Eran, E-R-A-N-D. Did you mention this name already? The person who's here for the first time.
Yeah.
I knew Aaron sent me something else. I couldn't remember what it was besides the 92-year-old. He says, you should shout out Kaylee Williamson, among first with Down syndrome ever to finish NYC marathon. I saw that as well. I don't believe it says among the first. So that the thing I saw for it said one of the first. So I don't know who the first was, if that was ever done. But another incredible accomplishment. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for
Absolutely
pointing that out.
I don't think for whatever reason, the New York City Marathon has been like, I've seen more and read more and like seen more videos and stuff on it this year. And it actually, I mean, I don't know. It was like really intriguing. If I'm going to do another city marathon, I think that would be one that I would go for if I could get in.
Yeah, I agree with you about that. When I was younger, Boston, like as a non-runner, for me anyway, Boston had all the only mystique that there was around marathons. Like I just didn't know of other marathons. And so for that reason, Boston always was the one for me. But like after I got to become a runner, I started to hear about New York all the time. So I don't know if they just do better publicity or if it really is a better race. But yeah, that's one that would definitely be kind of a bucket list race. I don't know how you get into it. You have to do like charity stuff or lottery stuff, or you run a bunch of other NYC road runners races and then you get automatically in or something.
I have no idea.
That?
I don't know.
Think
I don't think you have to qualify for it, but
yeah. We used to. It used to have to qualify, and it was harder than Boston.
Really?
Yeah. But I think a lot of people could get in with charity exemptions, or the other thing, like I said, if you ran the NYC Roadrunners stuff, there were enough of those things you could get in.
Interesting. I'll have to look into it. We can report back. Matt O'Connor also has a quick report on my marathon last week. Personal best for first training cycle as vegan. Very cool.
Yeah, way to go. That's what happens to a lot of people. Go plant-based, get some good race times.
Get faster, make more money, get prettier.
That's right.
All kinds of things happen.
Yep.
Heard it here
first. All right. Good. Anything else? Any other pre-show chatter? I don't really think so. I don't have anything else.
I don't think so either.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm still confused by watching this YouTube stream as well, because then I got like 3 different videos.
There's a lot we're juggling here.
Yeah, but anyway, the other chat is not appearing to still work for me. I see that people are in there now, but it's still not coming up. So I'll just keep doing that. All right. So like I said, no weather report. We did find a few articles that are kind of fun and worth discussing. The first one, let's do Blue Zones first, just because it's kind of simple and easy. My favorite, used to be my favorite site, Best Life Online, has some recent articles recently. This one I liked because it's not the typical Blue Zones stuff that you get. I'm a big Blue Zones fan. I haven't really watched the documentary in that much detail. I just sort of listened to it one day.
While you're playing FIFA?
Well, I was playing Zelda, I think.
Zelda, okay.
My mom was here and watched it, and I just
chewed on some Doritos.
I wasn't doing that, but
I've told like 5 people about that. I just love that so much.
It is crazy. All right, this is anyway called the Best Longevity Tips Straight from the Blue Zones. I think that documentary, whatever you'd call that series, docu-series, whatever, on Netflix has generated a lot of buzz for the Blue Zone, so you get these mainstream articles about it now. But the books are great, and they've been around forever. Anyway, I like this because they were different tips than I usually see. So let's just quickly check them out. I think most people, maybe not most, but the Blue Zones has their Power 9 pillars, and that's the stuff that the specific as they can get as far as take-home advice from these longest lived countries in the world, or longest of pockets of places around the world. I'll tell you what the pillars are real quick. Move naturally, purpose, downshift, meaning slow down, de-stress. 80% rules, the 80% full. Plant slant, that means eat mostly plant-based foods. Wine at 5 is 1 to 2 glasses of wine per day. Most of the Blue Zones do have moderate alcohol consumption. Belong, meaning to a community, because that's super important and under-reported on, I would say, as far as longevity factors go. Loved ones first means put family first. And right tribe, which is still kind of community sort of stuff, having a group of close people who you can count on. So that's their framework as far as how do you actually apply the advice. But these are some specifics that I just sort of liked because they were specific. And again, if you don't know the blue zones, it's like these longest lived places around the world, 5 of these pockets that they have studied, and they look at their habits and figure out what they do. So it's good. I think it's good science, and it's also entertaining. So number 1, make time to nap. So we heard downshift a little bit, meaning slow down, de-stress. But apparently, people who report napping at least 20 minutes 5 days a week have about a third lower rate of heart disease than people who just motor through the day, which is interesting to me. I've heard similar stats on taking a bath, and I guess taking a bath isn't all that different from taking a nap. It's kind of a break in the middle of the day.
One's asleep, anyway, one's not. Hopefully you're not falling asleep in the bath.
No, I have before, but not usually. I think I mentioned how I brought my pillow in the bath when I was in college and then just left it and it turned into mildew mess. Yeah,
Matt. Well, I like this one a lot. I am full on nap mode for the past several months. Like maybe really this whole training block.
Wow.
Napping 3 or 4 times a week. I do a 12-minute nap, set my alarm for 12 minutes. Takes me about 2 minutes to fall asleep. Get in 10 minutes. Best is if I've had make it a coffee nap, had a little bit of coffee beforehand. And I love it. I love it. Try to do it as much as I can. Feels so much better.
Yeah. Good. I mean, naps are awesome. They do feel great, especially short ones like that. I'm amazed that I've never done the coffee thing, or not often attempted that. But a lot of times I just can't really fall asleep long. And I think I am asleep for less than a minute sometimes when I take a nap in the afternoon. And amazingly, after that, I just feel better. Like it's just, I don't know if it's the whole process of getting to that minute of sleep, but somehow if I can go there for just a minute, then I wake up and feel better. If you go too long, it's terrible. If you go 45 minutes or more, it's hard.
And I don't get in bed. I either lay down on the floor, or sometimes I even just like put my head down on my desk, like I was in high school or something. But don't get in bed. If I get in bed, then it's harder for me to get up. And I have a yoga mat in the office, and I just kind of lay down on it. And
wow, on your back or your side or what? How do you come through?
On my back. On my back.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Put a little. It's a sandbag, like for yoga, that I put as a pillow, and there you go. That's all I got.
Yeah, it's good. It's fantastic. Naps do feel good for sure. It seems like they'd be healthy. I do often wonder about this stuff. I read a book just recently called Bad Science. Really good book, by the way. Won some awards. It came out in 2008, and it's a lot about how the media grabs on just to a headline, a study, and people, influencers, and even Dan Buettner's being one here. They and I have no idea how valid the study is. I haven't looked at it at all, and it looks like they link to it, so I could go check it out. But they hear a study that backs up whatever their kind of viewpoint is, their niche, and then they go say that on TV or say it whatever, and then people believe it. It just you have no idea if like, is napping actually helpful, or is it that people whose life is organized such that they can afford to nap in the middle of the day?
Well, that's everything, right? I mean,
yeah,
right. I mean, not everything, but that's so many things.
And the taking a bath thing would be the same thing, right? If you have the ability to do that, it means you're not out at a construction site for 12 hours in the day, probably.
Right.
And it's just different. So it's so hard to control for those things. I think my mistake when I was younger and less wise was I just assumed that all the studies would just control for this stuff, that they would always try to isolate that or do their best to isolate that very well, and they would be effective at doing it. Now, this association thing or causation versus correlation. It's just a massive problem.
But what if you deciding that I want to start napping every day because it's good for my heart health makes you more organized with your day and makes you restructure things that is the actual benefit or whatever.
And that is possible. We need a holistic viewpoint to these things.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're totally right though. I mean, that's all. I feel like all of these studies where it's just like some sort of weird thing you do. Morning Brew yesterday or the other day had something about if you make your bed, you're 200 more times more likely to be a millionaire or something like that. It's like that's not true. You're just more likely to have a maid that makes your bed for you. If you're a millionaire.
Right. It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard the same thing in Peter Attia's book Outlive. He criticizes just offhand the nuts. He said this idea that you can eat a handful of nuts and live for 2 or 3 years longer. It's just crazy. And I used to cite that one study that has said it, I think, in a talk that I did all the time. And now I realize it's kind of, I don't know, it's just potentially misleading. But anyway, that very study is mentioned later, or that very result is mentioned later in the same article. So anyway, it happens. But what are you gonna do? It's just there's limits to what the science can do with this kind of stuff, especially with long-term health outcomes. You just can't you can't do clinical trials on that very easily at all. All right, number 2, express gratitude. This is from someone named Ellie Gervais, who's been living in, I don't know if it's Nicoya or Nisoya. I always thought it was Nisoya because the C has that little thing under it that makes a hard C turn into a soft C. But I talked to someone who lived here, and he said it was Nicoya, so I don't really know. Anyway, this is just a total anecdotal from that person who says that things I've observed and experienced while living here, the first thing I think stands out to me is their ability to express and feel deep gratitude for even the smallest things. And of course, this Nicoya area is one of the blue zones. It's in Costa Rica. Doug, so you should know it from your time. Do you have any time in Costa Rica, or just that part of the world in general?
Oh, I in high school, I did a semester abroad in Costa Rica. 6 months. And I've been to the peninsula many times.
Okay. Is it Nisoya or Nicoya?
I would have said Nicoya.
Well, there, in that, the way it's written there, it has no thing under the sea. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That's where they supposedly eat the beans, squash, and corn. And that's like the main diet in that little area. All right, number 3, help your community. I think this is interesting that it says help your community. It doesn't say get helped by your community, because I tend to think that that's more the benefit, is have these friends who support you and help you. It's the helping of your community, maybe, that, at least this is one person's idea, that is a big part of it. But surely this is a thing. The loneliness, they say this loneliness epidemic in the United States, and probably the Western world in general, but it's a real thing. I think that there's this thing about loneliness is as bad as smoking, which everything's always as bad as smoking, it seems, for a little while.
Except for smoking.
So, yeah. I haven't looked deeply at the studies. I do wonder, like, what if you were kind of a loner, but you don't really feel lonely? That, like if, I don't know, not me, but like if someone I knew personally or closely was like that, they were always on their own. They didn't really feel like
playing FIFA without other people involved, or just
sitting
in their office reading and learning languages.
Exactly. Or sitting in the car at soccer practice, so you don't have to go out and talk to people. You just instead get to read or practice something.
Pretending like you're a busy founder of a company.
Exactly. That kind of person. So with that person, if they seem like they don't feel lonely day to day, are they still lonely because they're on their own a lot? I don't know. So I have to look deeper on that for that friend of mine.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is it the loneliness, or is it that's like, is the loneliness negatively impacting you, or is the community positively impacting you?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And so if you don't feel that loneliness, then maybe it's not actually negative, or it's negatively impacting you less than someone else.
Perhaps. But I do think there's a missing component, right? There's something that community provides, friendship and talking, and a good feeling that is different from, how the good feeling I feel when I'm on my own. So I don't know. All right, number 4, take a walk. We hear about the walking all the time now. The 10,000 step rule is constantly called into question by somebody, often by Best Life Online, honestly. They always have a different article about the actual number of steps you need that isn't 10,000. Usually it's less. In this case, they don't have brutal workouts in these blue zones. They do it without all the other gadgetry and pageantry of working out. And he mentions here shepherds in Sardinia who walk 5 miles a day or more. You do hear about that a lot, that the blue zones people walk, and often on hilly terrain to go visit friends or whatever. It might be half an hour away. They just walk. And you get lots of cardiovascular benefits from that. And I don't disagree with that one at all. Stair climbing, also good. Probably simulates those hills that they walk on. But apparently some amount of stairs can replace a whole lot of the rest of the walking.
Yeah, it's what we talked about last week, I think.
Yeah.
So I've been sick, since Sunday and haven't run. And Yeah, I'm realizing like how little activity that I do. I mean, maybe it's because I'm sick and so I'm not just
Mhm.
doing as much, but like I have done nothing the last couple of days. I've walked hardly at all. I haven't been on my bike to commute around town. Like it's just so easy to not really do much, to walk very few steps and to
When you're
do very
sick and
little
because you're
exercise.
sick, or you're saying other than your running time each day, everyone's
Well,
like,
I
it's
mean,
just
I think it's because I'm sick that I haven't done several things, but I could see, it's just it's amazing how quickly you can like not do things. You can just choose to not go for a walk, not go for a run, choose to take the car instead of the bike or walk, and like
right.
how easily it is to really like only probably do a couple thousand steps a day.
Yeah, it is easy. I've noticed that as I've shifted to this new workout plan where it's only every 3 days that you work out, and I try to
Hmm.
lightly work out on one of the days just because it's so weird. Like I realized if I don't have a workout that day, like I don't necessarily do anything. It's just I'm just sitting around the whole day. Uh, so it's I don't know. It's weird. Like it's funny you can for 40 minutes or whatever go pretty hard, and then the rest of your life just be mostly sitting in a chair.
Yeah,
Um, so I've been saying for a while that I want to get into more just walking, like just take a walk. It doesn't have to be hard. Just do more walking. Uh,
hmm,
and I've done a little bit of it, not a whole lot more, but I should do more with that. It's a good thing.
definitely.
Alrighty. On to the next one here. I lost the article for a second. Here it is. Get down to the basics when it comes to food. That's number 5. They mentioned Sardinia. Their basic staples like minestrone soup and whole grain sourdough. Those are foods that I make a lot. Well, I eat a lot. Aaron makes the sourdough. I often make the soup. Um, Whole grains, vegetables, greens, beans, and tubers are the top 5 pillars of Blue Zone diets. And Buettner loves to talk about the beans, which I think is great. He says a cup of beans a day is associated with an extra 4 years of life expectancy. It's possible that that's suffering from the same kind of problems we mentioned before, that exact figure anyway. But definitely, this to me seems like a different category because you just see it over and over. And in all these blue zones, they are eating beans. So this is not some isolated thing. Um, just I don't know. Beans are a great food. And number 6, last one, which I mentioned earlier, add nuts to your snacking list. People in Icaria, which is Greece, and Sardinia, which is Italy, snack on almonds, while those in Nicoya prefer pistachios. Adventists in Loma Linda eat all types of nuts. The only one they didn't mention there is Okinawa, which I don't know. Maybe they just don't eat nuts in Okinawa because they're eating too many purple sweet potatoes all day. Um, but anyway, he says 2 handfuls of nuts per day. And a study from the Adventists in Loma Linda found that nut eaters on average outlive non-nut eaters by at least 2 to 3 years.
Hmm.
So, and that's in there, but still, you could imagine that the nut eaters in general just might be healthier diet eaters. Certainly possible, but they do seem to be a longevity food. So there you go. There's your Blue Zones extra tips that you won't necessarily find in the Netflix show.
There you go. But you might because you didn't watch it.
probably most of those are mentioned in the Netflix show. But there you go. All right. So the other thing we got, kind of a fun one, I thought for Thanksgiving, it is relevant. From the takeout.com, what do vegans think of the angry vegan stereotype? And I mean, this is a real stereotype, the idea of the angry vegan. The article is not a new one. It's from 2022. And I found it a couple weeks ago and just said, save this one. This is a good article, good discussion. Anyway, they're just interviewing different vegans here, different a food writer, the guy from Upton's Naturals, which is a vegan meat company, a couple other people, and they just asked them about the angry vegan thing, if they consider themselves angry, what are vegans actually angry, and all that. And I think the consensus is that there are plenty of angry vegans because when you do sort of an anti-establishment thing like decide to be vegan, there is typically some amount of anger or resentment involved that you're doing it because you're angry that the rest of the world operates this different way and you're deciding to stand apart from it, and it would be very natural to feel some anger about that. That's not necessarily the same as meaning you're angry at all the meat eaters who still are part of that thing, because a lot of people are just part of it without knowing they're part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people just said, yes, you get angry vegans because you get angry people in any group. So if there's 30 times more omnivores than there are vegans, then you've got 30 times more angry omnivores than angry vegans overall, absolute numbers terms.
Yeah.
And that's probably right. But
you can be angry about the political climate and still be vegan, and that doesn't make you angry because you're a vegan.
Right. You could be angry just about other stuff and all that. So I don't know. I try really hard not to be the angry vegan. I don't like that vibe, and I think that's why Garuda Legends said that they want to cook some vegan food because we don't put that off, and I think that's good. I like that, but that's just some people that's their place. They're going to be the angry vegan, and maybe it serves a purpose. All right, so I don't know too much about what to say about it. I mean, I've thought about this in regards to Thanksgiving and being, how you choose to be when you go to a Thanksgiving, if you want to take that as an opportunity to, show your anger and let people understand how wrong this whole thing is, or just kind of go along with the vibe and be cool so that people say, wow, that vegan person actually seemed like they had a good time at the Thanksgiving, and that doesn't seem so strange. I don't know. But anyway, I thought this one line was interesting to me, and I didn't fully agree with it. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay. Someone says, one of these people, it's Bone. Who is Bone? Oh, Kelly Bone, a food writer based in San Diego. She admits she might be a little angry, but the anger is directed at the right targets. Anyway, she says, people have a misconception that vegans want to hear about how they only eat ethically sourced meat or the bodies of baby deer that their dad shoots, dismembers, and keeps in a basement freezer. This might be a meat eater's self-conscious effort to prove that they're one of the good carnivores, one who doesn't participate in the factory farming industry. But whatever the case, it's not a welcome topic. And she says, I didn't ask, and I definitely do not want to hear about what meat you eat. It's literally the last thing I want to know about someone. And I am completely the opposite. Like, I'm not that interested. I guess the complete opposite would be being really interested in the meat they eat. I don't really care about, how you're barbecuing pork or what you're doing. I don't care about that at all. But when someone tells me this sort of thing, like I eat ethically sourced meat, or even better, like I literally only hunt my own meat and then I just eat that.
Who says that though? Like, has anyone ever actually said that?
I don't know if anyone actually says that, but people who say they're hunters, and I'll have a conversation with them about how wrong the factory farming system and how just terrible it is.
Yeah.
I connect with those people. I fully get that, and I appreciate that about them. So I don't know. It's just not at all the last thing I want to hear. I actually like hearing that people are like kind of thinking about animals. And I agree, like ethically sourced meat, that might be a contradiction, and just not something that really can exist. But it just depends. It depends if you like, I think a lot of vegans have the idea that no animal should ever suffer for human consumption. Like it's like this, you take a stand for the animals. But I don't like the reason I am vegan. It was never that no animal should suffer. I think I maybe went through a period of time where I thought that, and like that hunting was wrong and always has been wrong, or like if there's ever an alternative, we should do that instead. I just mostly like am vegan because I don't want to be any part of that factory farm food system. It's just awful. And to be vegan is a way to stand outside of that and say, I'm not participating in this thing that is so wrong. So like, I guess that viewpoint might allow me to then go ahead and hunt. And then I certainly wouldn't call myself vegan. But I think that's why when I hear about people who do hunt, like, I don't feel like they're a totally different person from me, because they also agree that this factory farming thing is terrible. So, I mean, I don't know.
Okay. So I think that there are probably very, very few people, 0.001% of the meat eaters. I mean, there's like incredibly low percentage of people who actually either hunt most of their food or their meat, or get ethically sourced meat most of the time. Like most people, even if they, go to the farmer's market and get their steaks from there, or like on big nights out where they're trying to cook a nice dinner, get, some sort of special chicken or whatever, like most of the meat is going to be from the system, right?
Yep.
And I think that a lot of people will, pat themselves on the back. I mean, it's the same with greenwashing, everything, feeling good about bringing your reusable bag while you're getting lettuce in a plastic, clamshell thing, right? Like, at the grocery store.
Mhm.
It's like you can pat yourself on the back because you did buy that steak at the farmer's market that one time, or every couple weeks or whatever. But still, most of your meat is not going to come from that, and you're kind of using that as like, well, I'm not as bad as everybody else because I did that one time,
Right.
and like, I don't. I'm not here to like pat you on your back and make you feel good about some of the decisions you made, and so I kind of agree with her most of the time. The 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 caveat, I guess the like the what I where I'm what I agree with you about is that it seems, if someone is talking about that, then that means they're at least thinking about it,
Mhm.
right? And I think that's a good thing. They're thinking about it enough to make the decision that they don't care, that it's not that important to them, and that's fine. And then like, I'm not going to berate you. I'm not going to be an angry vegan and chastise you because you're making that decision. Like that's your decision, right? But I don't hide behind the fact that you like get a little bit of ethically sourced meat.
Right. I think that's correct. I'm pretty sure now that you're saying that, like when I'm talking to someone and they're telling me that they only hunt or only get grass fed or whatever they do, and I don't know if grass fed that even counts as ethically sourced. Um, I know in the back of my head that they are not being 100% truthful, right? If someone said it's just they're just not. I mean, unless it's some person who's like, totally extreme, different from everyone else there, but they're not. People I'm talking to, they're normal mainstreamers, and so I know that it's not true. But I just feel like when I sort of engage with that and say like that's really, great that you don't
Mhm.
do this. I think I'm just I don't know, let them continue to talk about it and be patted on the back by me for doing this, and then maybe that will get, like you said, they're thinking about it and maybe they're making that more part of their identity. And
Well, yeah, and what I think is good is that like then it kind of breaks down a barrier a little bit. If you're like, oh well, that still ethically sources is terrible. Like shame on
right,
you for doing
right.
that. Then you become the angry vegan, the stereotype, right? And so for to be able to have a conversation about meat and with a vegan and the vegan to be open to having that conversation or whatever, I think is a very good thing. And that's how like I mean whether it's veganism or healthcare or whatever. I think that's those types of conversations are important and kind of break down some barriers and allow people to like connect in a different way. So in
Mhm.
that sense, it's fine. But I would rather talk to you about something else, honestly. Like I feel like people. I think kind of what she was saying in the article is like people want to justify that and make you think they hear you're a vegan and they want you to think highly of them. But like I'd rather talk to you about I don't know
Yeah, it's a good
it's
point.
any other thing, right?
Right,
Like
right.
not
More
any other
likely we
thing.
will connect based on something else than the
Uh-huh.
fact that you eat meat and I don't, and we both think factory farming is wrong. Uh, that's a good point. It's just not it's not the most interesting thing to talk about.
Mhm.
Um, but anyway, I think you're right to point out that like that is the choice you make, right? When like you don't have to be the angry vegan as the alternative. You could also be someone who politely says, "Yeah, but like ethically sourced, like what does that mean?" And you could sort of get to the I don't know Socrates sort of questioning them and say and basically get to acknowledge that it's not really that what they're calling ethical meat. The animal's still
Mhm.
suffering for it. You can do that and go into that kind of conversation, but I just don't like that. And then it feels
Yeah,
weird.
I'm really bad about that. I'm good at that
Yeah.
with other issues
Uh
that
huh.
are but for some reason with food, like I kind of cowered away from like standing up for certain things, which I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a good thing or not. I don't know.
Right. I do too. I wonder that same thing. Is it good? Is it? Am I just sort of rationalizing when I say that I prefer to not cause a scene and be a good example of a vegan who like cannot be angry? I don't really know, but it has worked for me so far, so that's what I'm sticking with. Carmen Petty says my inside voice is like the food writer, but my outside is a mat, and I can understand that. I guess I have moments when I do feel angry like that, um, but no, I think it's genuine when I'm talking to someone about that stuff. It is genuine that I'm connecting with them over
Mhm.
agreeing that factory farming and the food system is horrendous.
I
So
do think, like you said, and like I'm repeating again, I do think it kind of creates a middle ground that you can kind of connect on in a little bit, and then that can lead towards more interesting conversations later, around food or around anything else. But uh,
yeah,
with all these articles, I love looking at the comments, and they're all they're all kind of aligned. It's interesting. There's 50 of them or something, 40 of them. But this one sums up, I think, what most people are saying is the notion of angry vegans seems to be a projection more of a projection than reality these days. However, I will say that preachy vegans are out there and they can be terrible. And so I don't know, I don't know if the writer actually kind of meant angry vegan is the same as preachy vegan. They didn't really talk about that, but everyone seems to be like, yeah, it's not that vegans are angry. It's that they just want to tell me about what I'm doing wrong all the time.
Right. Yeah, you're right. That is different from anger for sure. And that's also not good. I don't think you want to be that.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, food for thought as we head into Thanksgiving, which is only 2 weeks away, 2 weeks and one day away. We'll talk plenty more about Thanksgiving and probably find some there's plenty of recipes and articles and things up. I don't know how much we'll get to talk about it, but we always like to figure out some new Thanksgiving dish to try or a Thanksgiving drink or whatever. So we'll have Thanksgiving stuff. But this is always the thing. Like the vegan and Thanksgiving, it's one of the big objections or one of the big how do you deal with Thanksgiving? If someone's considering going vegan, they always wonder what would Thanksgiving be like. So it's a big moment, and you can choose to be angry and preachy at it, or you can choose to, I don't know, just kind of go with it. And I usually always do the latter. So we'll talk more about that. But I don't think today's the day for that.
Yeah. But as we're wrapping up here, I would love more comments from people. If someone is talking to you about how they eat their ethically sourced meat, do you like that? Do you like having those conversations, or do you prefer not?
Yeah, it is a good question. Anything else, Doug? While we're seeing if anybody responds. I'm going to Atlanta this weekend, so I'm possible that I will go to Slutty Vegan. I don't think so.
I hope so. Man, you gotta seek it out, dude. You gotta make the trip. You gave me such a hard time for not doing it. I'm gonna give you a hard time for not doing it too.
Did I give you a hard time for not doing it?
Yeah.
Hey, I just found. You know what? I just Googled it, and somehow there's an article from 2022 saying Slutty Vegan to open in Charlotte.
What?
But I mean, that was a year and a half ago, so I don't think it panned out. Yeah, I don't know. I've said it before. The brand just doesn't really attract me. If I drove by it, I'd be kind of curious if I was in the mood for junky fake meat burger and like all those sauces.
Your kids will love it, man. Are you going with family?
No, I'll be by myself. Probably Holden will be with the team in a hotel. I'll just be in my own hotel, sad by myself.
I mean, what's better than being sad in a hotel with a giant overflowing burger that's just oozy and goozy everywhere?
I can think of 100 things that I'd rather eat in a hotel by myself than a oozy overflowing burger.
All right, here's your choice. Your only choices: you get Whole Foods vegan sushi or Slutty Vegan. You have to choose one of them. That's your choice, and I'm not going to allow you to eat anything else. You know those kid credit cards or debit cards or whatever that you can restrict where they can be used.
Yep.
I'm gonna get Aaron to put some restrictions on your cards so that you can only go to either Whole Foods, sushi counter.
That's what I would pick. I'd pick the Whole Foods sushi counter. That's at least going to be interesting and light. I know what the sloppy burger tastes like. The sloppy Beyond Burger. I've had it before other places. It's just, it'd be fine. It would scratch the itch if you want that. At least the vegan sushi would be an interesting thing. It might be a little bit of a revolting kind of thing. I don't know, but at least I'd learn something new and get to try something different.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do. What I really would more like to do, there's some kind of vegan wings place in Atlanta that I would go seek out. That seems actually pretty good. So I'm gonna look for that.
All right. Well,
see if I'm anywhere near that.
Report back.
Anyway, I will report back on that if I actually do anything interesting.
Annie Amato says that I hate it when people ask for that pat on the back. I usually respond with a sarcastic, "I'm wicked proud of you." Usually that gets a laugh and kills the combo. Oh, I'm so proud of you. It's great.
That's funny. It's a good. At least it's a little funny, right? It's better than something that doesn't get a laugh and kills the combo. It's just, I don't know. I think that's a good thing to do. Humor is good. Helps.
Yeah. And then finally, Mr. Jeffrey came in with the clutch response about the New York City Marathon. So now we know what to do. You can get in through time, lottery, or if you run 9 New York City races and volunteer at one of them. Man, that is a lot of races to run.
Mr. Jeffrey, did you look that up or did you just know that? How do you know those facts like that? I don't understand. You should be like a Jeopardy person.
Mr. Jeffrey would be between Mr. Jeffrey and Steven.
Steven knows lots.
Those are my two picks for any sort of trivia night.
Yeah.
They know so much.
Unless they're just using ChatGPT and tricking everyone.
Still.
Steven wanted to host trivia on the Discord, so maybe he's into trivia. He must.
Yo,
be
he is. Yeah, every week he plays trivia. He's like.
I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah,
I'd like to go play
big
trivia with
guy.
Steven in Harlem, but an English language version of the game would be fun to do.
You should.
I'm gonna put that on my bucket list for next year.
With a pint of Guinness.
Yeah, an Irish thing with an Irish guy
and a Burger King
and a Beyond Burger.
long chicken sandwich.
Right. All right, I'll do that. Bucket list for 2024. That'd be my only New Year's goal.
Mr. Jeffrey says he just learned it on a podcast 2 days ago. There you go. He knows that stuff.
He must consume a lot of content. That's probably a big. That's
great.
how he manages to get. It is good. Yeah, I mean,
Knows so
get
much.
to this show every day. All right, I have a recommendation for VE Green. I don't know how you pronounce that. Vegreen. I don't know, but
Green.
Yeah, in is it Duluth? I'm trying to find the YouTube window. Yeah, Duluth, Georgia, from D1 to No Adventure Code. I'll have to look up and see how close I am to that. But if I'm nearby, I'll check it out. I'm not gonna have anything to do other than watch a couple soccer games and go get food, I guess. So we'll see. All right, that's good. That's all for tonight, I think, or for tonight.
You should host a Play-Based Morning Show meetup.
Yeah, I know. We definitely should do that. I think it'd be really fun one day to have I mean, this show would need to be bigger. I think maybe not. Maybe we'd get people.
If we pick the right city, I think we'd be okay.
Just like a free informal come meet up, or like an event where like people just come for like a whole 4 days of doing stuff.
Oh, no, that would be even better. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I just meant like a free, like we're hanging out at Slutty Vegan, grabbing some slutty burgers, and
it'd be fun.
You should join us.
It would be cool. I think it'd be fun to do a live recording of the podcast with an audience. That's what I think our show would need to be bigger in order for that to happen, because I just don't think we get a lot of people doing that. But that would always that'd be a fun thing to do. So much easier than giving a talk. You just get to do your thing, have a conversation, and
If you or anybody you know organizes a Veg Fest and wants to have a live podcast recording at your Veg Fest, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. It'd be fun. I would do that. It almost happened once, Doug, that we got
I know.
with to invite. I think it was to interview Scott Jurek or Joel Furman or something up at the New Jersey Atlantic City Veg Fest.
That's what.
And I don't know why we didn't make it happen. We should have.
Yeah, I can't remember how that fell apart. That would have been cool.
Both those guys I admire and have learned a lot from. That would have been a great thing. I don't know why we didn't do it. And Atlantic City, we could have gambled.
Oh, would have been an epic weekend. One to remember.
Up there with those Runners World trips we did.
That's right.
Bart Yasso's house. Okay, enough reminiscing. We'll be back tomorrow, Thursday. Best show of the week, favorite day of the week. Hopefully, we get some more news between now and then, so we can have a weather report, because that's always fun. Anyway, thanks for all the participation, everyone, for showing up, and congratulations to all those runners who did all that stuff. Really amazing accomplishments. Way to go, everyone. Thank you to new people who show up for the first time on the live thing. Thank you to Garuda Legends, being a non-vegan, hanging out with vegans. I don't know. Just good vibes. Thanks, everyone. We will talk to you tomorrow.
Later.